Hi everyone and welcome back. This is Mindy Eggen for Hero Arts, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to do a fun fold card design featuring the My Monthly Hero Kit from Hero Arts for September 2021. I'll walk you through the contents of the kit, and then I'm also going to show you some tips and tricks along the way about how to get your stamped image lined up perfectly with this stencil design. So first, let's jump into taking a look at the My Monthly Hero Kit for September 2021. This kit is beyond packed with product this month for such an amazing deal. You are getting this 4x6 stamp set with that gorgeous sunflower bundle along with some sentiments. You're also getting the frame cut for that sunflower bunch, 2 fancy word dies. You'll be receiving 5 coloring layering stencils, 1 blending brush, and then 4 ink cubes in Butter Bar, Caramel, Root Beer, and Key Lime Fizz. This kit is valued at $87, so you are really getting a steal if you are signed up for the kits or if you purchase this kit individually. So I am going to start by ink blending the layering stencils, starting with the first one in the stencil pack, which is all of that open space. I'll explain in a little bit why I'm stenciling first and not stamping. Now I am using Dove White cardstock that I have cut to 5.5 by 8.5. So I left myself a lot of wiggle room, and I'm going to be doing my ink blending on the Make Art station because the magnets hold my stencil down. I'm starting off with a blending brush, and I'm using Dandelion ink, so it's a really nice, bright, vibrant ink. We also have the Butter Bar in the kit, which is another beautiful color to use for your first base layer. Now you're going to notice that in the corners of the stencil are little squares, and you want to make sure to add some ink to that. That is going to help us line the rest of the stencils up perfectly. So after I added ink to all of my little registration marks is what I call them, but those little squares, I'm going to just pick off my magnets and I'll be able to pick this first layer of the stencil up, and I'm going to bring in the next layer. So once again, I'm going to line up now those little corners that I added ink to, and I'm going to place my magnets on top to just hold my stencil in place. And now I'm going to ink blend on apricot ink. Blending brushes make it really easy to get in some of those little fine lines of the stencil, and it makes such a soft look. Now after I have the apricot ink down, I'll once again remove the magnets, and I'm going to bring in my next layer. This is the third stencil out of the set, and this is going to add the centers. Now the centers are also two-part. So to start off with, I'm starting with kind of a light brown, which is caramel ink, just adding the ink to the center of that. Then I'll bring in the fourth layer of the stencil, and this fourth layer is going to add our base layer for our leaves. And for the leaves, for that base layer, I am going to use lime green. So it's a really nice, bright, light color of green. After I have this base layer down, I'm going to bring in the final layer of the stencil, once again matching up those corners with the ink that I had laid down. Now this one is two-part, so we have kind of a darker layer to add to the leaves, and then we have the centers of the flowers. I'm going to start by ink blending the second layer of the leaves. So by doing that, I'm masking off the center of the sunflowers. Then I'm going to ink blend on Fresh Lawn, so it's a little bit darker, and you want to be careful because some of the pieces of the stencil are kind of fine, so you don't want to bend them, so just a really nice blending movement. And then I'm removing my masks off the center of the sunflowers and adding them over top of the green. Now, because I have ink applied there, that Post-it tape doesn't want to stick very well. It's good enough where I can just kind of hold it down and then bring in Cup of Joe, so it's a darker brown, and add that on top. After this final layer is done, I'm just going to remove the Post-it tape and also remove that final layer of the stencil to reveal our background. Now, this is gorgeous as is, and I actually have done a card where it's just using the stencil. What I'm going to show you is if you want to add the black lines to this, I found a great trick to do this, and that is by first die cutting our image out. Make sure you hang on to that negative piece. What we're going to do is take this over to our paper trimmer once we have our sunflowers die cut out, and I am just trimming this up. So I don't want to cut into that negative space. I'm just kind of narrowing down the area around it because I'm going to bring this over to my Misty tool. Now over in my Misty tool, I did stamp the image onto some scratch paper in my Misty. I'm going to bring in that negative space and line that negative piece up with the image I stamped on my scratch paper. The reason I'm doing it like this is that when I had originally stamped first and tried to ink blend on top, I was finding that I was smearing my ink because I'm using a light yellow on top of black. And even when I tried to dry it, I was really smearing my ink and I wasn't getting the true color of inks. So by doing this trick, I am able to ink blend first, and then this is going to stamp perfectly on top. So I am holding that negative piece down with some Post-it tape. I also put a little bit kind of in the inside, and then I can bring my stencil background in and just kind of die cut inlay that right in there. Then I'm going to ink up that stamped or that image with some intensified black ink and stamp this down, and this lines up perfectly with our stenciled image. It looks just amazing, either with the stamped black lines or on its own, kind of for a no line look. So that trick really helped me, and I was able to create a lot of these sunflower bunches in a short period of time. So here are some of them that I did do. One of them I did do in rainbow because you just got to try the rainbow. And then I have a few other ones that I can save for future projects. Now I'm going to work on doing kind of a fun edge design to my card front. The reason I thought of this is because this is such a large image. I could pretty much go from top to bottom of my card. So what I'm doing here is this is a 5.5 by 8.5 piece of dove white cardstock that I scored at 4 1/4. I just brought my image in to kind of get an idea where it's going to fit. And then I'm bringing in that coordinating die. Now the trick to doing this is I want the die to kind of hang off the top and the bottom. And you're going to notice that when you see kind of some space at the top and the bottom there. And once I have that each end hanging off, I'm going to hold that in place and I'm going to bring it to my die cut machine. Now you want to make sure that the left edge is not on that crease or where our score mark is. Otherwise, you're just going to cut this right out. Now I'm taking this to the die cut machine, and when you die cut, you have 2 plates, and that's typically where you run it through the machine and it's going to cut it. But I'm placing this on top of my plate, and then the top plate, you can see I'm lining up with where I want it to die cut. Anything past that top plate is not going to cut. This is a lot easier to show in a video than actually to explain, but anything that is with the 2 plate sandwich will cut. And then I can remove that from the die cut machine and take off my Post-it tape. And you're going to see we just have that one edge cut off. And here is my score line that I'm just going to fold in half and then reinforce that fold with my bone folder. So now we have kind of this fun edge design to our card. It was just something a little different, something a little fun, and worked out really well because this is such a large image. Now to add dimension to my card, I die cut out 2 more of that sunflower bunch with nothing on it, just plain white cardstock, and I'm adhering them together with a tape runner. And then I'm going to bring in my stencil piece and add that on top. So little bits, little details like adding dimension to the card really kind of just add some fun to this. Now I can add tape runner to the back of that and line that up with my fun edge that I have here. And that creates our flaps. So they're going to open it by lifting up the sunflower bunch, and then there is the inside of our card. Now you could totally just leave that inside white. I thought I'd kind of give some separation there with using a colored cardstock, and you can see that you can either have this in portrait or in landscape mode. It works either way. Now for the inside, I did bring in some metal cardstock that is cut to 4 1/4 by 5.5, and I'm just lining that up with that fold in the inside of the card. You can write your message right on that green cardstock, or you can add another piece of white cardstock behind that if you want. Now, a few more finishing touches is adding a sentiment. So also in the kit this month, you are getting 2 word dies. This one is the hello. I die cut hello twice from white cardstock and once from the glitter cardstock. This is the fall collection. So it's a glittery dark brown and really fit in with this kit this month. So I layered that together, and then I'm going to add this to the shadow layer. Then I'm just going to add liquid glue to the back of this and add it to the front of the card. There are also some really great sentiments that you could stamp as well. I just really liked having that hello word die on there. And that's going to finish off my card for you today, featuring the My Monthly Hero Kit for September 2021 from Hero Arts. I really think this is a fun design with having the sunflowers be the actual flap that opens up to the inside of the card. Now we're going to take a look at some inspiration from the Hero Arts creative team. They really have done an amazing job, whether it's using the stencil on its own, the stamp on its own, a combination, the card designs, the change of the colors, just really so many ideas. All of this can be found over on the Hero Arts blog, and these products are available over on the Hero Arts website, so you can visit www.heroarts.com. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you again soon.